Hello, welcome to this episode of Africa This Month on Ominira TV. I am Lanre-Peter, and this is where I bring to you issues of happenings across the continent. So here are my stories this month. 1. On the 20th of January 2020, the first ever UK-Africa Investment Summit was held in London, where Prime Minister Boris Johnson hosted 21 African leaders. Whenever I hear stories or see events like this, I am happy because it means that the world is beginning to see Africa not just as a problem, but now for its opportunities. If you remember, in 2018, there was the China-Africa Cooperation Forum. In 2019, Japan and Russia had events for African leaders. And now in 2020, where the UK have started on this note, I do hope that this new trade and investment relations mean well for all Africans, because investment can help to reduce poverty, empower women, and build infrastructures that the continent seriously needs. My second story is about ECHO, the newly proposed single currency by the Economic Community of West African States. As you may already know, that ECOWAS have had this idea to create a single currency in the region for many years now, which is not a bad idea in itself, as we have seen in Europe. However, the project has been faced with some challenges in the continent. For instance, recently, the West African Francophone nations announced their plan to change their currency, the CFA franc, to ECHO, so that they can have monetary sovereignty and stop having their foreign reserves in the Bank of France, compulsorily in the Bank of France in Paris. But Nigeria and other Anglophone countries are opposed to this move, saying that it is not in line with what was agreed. Remember, in 2019, when the ECHO name was adopted for the currency, the plan was also made to launch the currency in 2020. With all of these challenges coming up now, and most of these nations yet to meet the criteria required to implement this project, do you think that the idea of having a single currency in the West African region is good? And if you think it's good, do you think that this is the right time? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. So my third story is about this new travel ban on some African countries. Multiple news sources have reported that 4 African countries are targets of a new travel ban by United States President Donald Trump. These countries are Nigeria, Eritrea, Sudan, and Tanzania. And to be very honest with you, this isn't the first time that we've heard such news. It is just quite unfortunate that Africans are now continually being categorized and blacklisted as unwanted in other countries. But would this have been the case if our countries were more developed and not poverty-stricken? I guess not. Well, what I also know is that President Donald Trump made campaign promises to his people to crack down on illegal immigration. And perhaps this is the time to fulfill his campaign promises, especially because there is an election coming around in November. So let's not get all bitter about that, because there is also a bit of good news coming from Rwanda. Early in the month, in London, President Paul Kagame made it known that Rwanda is considering waiving visa fee for Africans, citizens of Commonwealth nations, and people of the Francophone countries. So maybe all we just need to do is boycott the United States and travel to Rwanda, right? Yeah, and that brings me to my last story, where the Transparency International, by its Corruption Perception Index report, has ranked Somalia as the world's most corrupt nation. This is due to the country's economic crisis and violent conflict going on for years in that region. The report also indicates that most African countries had little or no improvement in tackling corruption. Corruption, as we know, has been one of the biggest problems facing the African continent. And for Africans to experience good governance, to experience prosperity and reap the dividends of democracy, we all need to fight the demon called corruption. And it is left for you and I to keep our leaders accountable and ask for what is right so that we all can benefit and have an African society that is prosperous and free. That is all that I have packaged for you on Africa This Month on Ominira TV, and I hope that you have found it interesting. Please, to see more of our videos like this, please subscribe to Ominira TV on YouTube and share this with your friends. Thank you.